Hello, welcome to another episode of Literature Lesson with me, Nigel Salmon, the Jamaican author. In this episode, I will be promoting one of my books, the book entitled A Ghost at Christmas. This is absolutely an excellent book, an inspiring story about how a poor woman's life was changed in Christmas of the year 1865. And I'm going to be reading the first chapter of the book. So let me get you to get a feel of what the book is like. A Ghost at Christmas, Chapter 1. And I know a lot of authors love to read from their books. So here I'm going to be reading the first chapter of A Ghost at Christmas. It was December 1865. On a cold Thursday night, snow fell across a small town in England. All the streets of the town were lonely. Residents have gone in and shut their doors. The lights from lanterns brightened their windows. This night, like many nights before, was taken with quiet slumber. The tiny drops of snow fell peacefully to the ground and on rooftops. The night swept the town with silence. On a snow-covered street, Maria Winslow, aged 32, strolled alone with folded arms below her chest. A lonely figure, she made her way home in the early night after a long day of washing and cleaning for other people in the town. Her feet stepped across the snow-soaked ground in a pair of self-made sandals, cut and sewn together from someone's household refuse. She slightly shivered now and again from the somewhat freezing night air, which danced invisibly around her slender frame. Maria turned onto Buckley Road, the long road in the town which she must walk to the house she lived. Soon she reached the gate to the three-bedroom house of Mr. and Mistress Chambers and their 3 children. Maria looked over at the house. The parted curtain at the window gave her a pellucid view of the family sitting in the living room at a table and singing, "Silent Night, Holy Night." Maria glanced into the sky and deeply inhaled with closed eyes. She slowly exhaled while falling snow paced onto her floral bandana. This was the month of Christmas, but yet Christmas felt like a distant thing to her. Christmas could have easily passed and she would not, like more than once before, noticed it. Christmas, a time to give, was not quite appealing to an impecunious woman whose diurnal concern was to make ends meet. While the singing of the carol beat gently against the senses of her ears from the house of the Chambers, Maria resumed her lonely walk along Buckley Road until the crooning voices faded away behind her. Soon she reached the structure she called home at the end of the road. Maria lifted one end of the rickety gate, made of leftover slabs, and shifted it open to go through. After a blow of visibly warm air from her mouth onto her palms, she lifted the old and shabby gate again and shifted it to a close, hitching it upright with a rope. Maria turned and looked at the cabin where she lived. It was a gloomy structure in the night, and a total contrast to the other dwellings in the small English town. It was a one-bedroom cabin, the windows boarded up to fight out the winter period. The leaky roof, covered white by snow, implored for amelioration. At the end of Buckley Road, this was a cheerless dwelling in the joyful days before Christmas. Maria made her way along the 30 feet of grassy track to the cabin. The front door, the only entrance and exit, squeaked open by the gentle push of her hand. Maria quickly closed back the door. She quietly walked across the board floor to her bed. She pulled off a second frock she used as a coat and hung it on a nail on the wooden wall. With some comfort in the badly lit room by an old and stained lantern, Maria took off the bandana and brushed it free of snow. The end of her shaggy brown hair fell inches below her shoulders. Maria sat on her bed and smiled at the other bed where her 10-year-old daughter lay with her eyes closed. She slowly turned her face from her daughter, and the smile disappeared from her face, replaced by a glum countenance. Maria deeply inhaled. She lay in the bed and pulled a blanket over herself for warmth. Silence hung in the air. The stained lantern burned at one side of the small cabin. Maria closed her eyes to sleep. "Mother," her daughter Peggy gently called. Maria slowly opened her eyes. Her closed lips followed, then her peaceful voice. "Yes, Peggy," she answered. Few seconds of silence passed while Maria awaited words from her daughter. Soon the little girl, covered under a thick blanket, spoke again. "Will we have Christmas this year?" she asked. Maria mulled over the question for some seconds. Her thin lips moved open. "I hope we will, Peggy," she replied. "I truly hope we will." And that is the end of chapter 1 of the book, A Ghost at Christmas. A Ghost of Christmas is available on Amazon, where you can preview it before purchase. It's also available on Barnes & Noble, Book Depository, and all other major online bookstores. Or why not visit my website, nigeldsalmon.com, where you can purchase a copy. Go out and get yourself this inspired book, A Ghost at Christmas. It's one of the most fascinating fictional work of mine, and I want you to get it, so check it out. A Ghost at Christmas. You need to have a copy for yourself and your entire family.